Hello, Echo here. I'm going to be sharing The Young Peacemaker by Corlette Sande. It says, teaching students to respond to conflict God's way. I really like the principles that she lays out in this. She'll start each lesson with a Bible verse, and then she goes into a real life situation that includes whatever the point is of the lesson. So it'll have the characters going back and forth, and then at the end, you talk with the student about what would happen if they decided to do this, or what would happen if they decided to do that, or what consequences do you see in this? And so you're doing this critical thinking in the situation. And then you'll talk about other situations that would apply to that. And I just feel like it's really straightforward, and the points that she makes are important, and the illustrations that she uses are just super helpful and very clear. There's a lot of caricatures drawn in it, so I think my kids like that, and it makes it fun for them. There's also student activity books that you can get and print out, so I'll show you inside what those look like as well. And I think that's pretty much it for the intro. So, time for a real page turner. The Young Peacemaker by Corlette Sande. Now, somebody had given me this book, so you'll see it's all written in and highlighted, which isn't my favorite thing, but it's okay. I like the content enough that I can overlook whoever marked it up before, and I'm glad that they made it their own. I hope it was super helpful when they used it. You can see right here under the table of contents, we've got 3 sections: understanding conflict, responding to conflict, and preventing conflict. And then underneath each, there are 4 chapters. So there's 12 altogether. Right here, she's talking about her thinking behind this and about conflict itself, how she came to be writing this, why this is important to her. She's a parent as well. And then here, it's explaining the sections that you'll find as you go through it. You'll have a story, then some diagrams to see, a resolution, and then activities with personal application. Okay, right here, 12 key principles for young peacemakers. These are the things that they're actually going to be learning in this, the points of each of the lesson. It says it's geared for intermediate and middle school students, but these principles really can go all the way from little kids all the way up through adults. They're very good principles. Now, the lessons might be too much for a little kid, but the principles are really good. So they have lots of teaching tips at the beginning. And I think I'm going to read through those again because we need some peace, guys. All right, part 1 is understanding conflict. Here, the chapter starts with a verse, and I've tabbed at the top the separate chapters because I wanted to keep track of what the verses were and make sure that we were memorizing these. So she goes over that. She has the objectives here at the beginning, which makes it easy for the teacher. Begin with prayer. I love that. That's really important. And then here she's talking about some questions that you can ask to get started. Then they go into the story. So right here, it's twisted 10 speed. What happened to my new bike? Okay, and it'll go through this whole story of what happened with these guys. And then it pauses where it will go into teaching you. I love this right here. Slippery slope. This is, she refers to this throughout it. This is so important, you guys. It's a slippery slope when you're upset. You can have the danger of escape, which is running away, the blame game, or denying. You can have the slippery slope of attack, which is put downs, gossip, or fighting. But right in the middle is overlooking, talking, and getting help. So good. So then here she goes through, okay, what are the different parts of escape? Denial, blame game, running away. And there's these questions. So you're having a dialogue with your students while you're talking about this. And then attack, same thing. They've got questions all throughout it, so they have to answer. Here, these are optional where it just goes even farther with how far people can go when they're angry. So based on the age of your student, what you go through with them. Okay, and then working it out. Now here she goes over the stuff in the middle and how to work through conflict. Now here we've got some Bible verses and talking about, oh, God is with you in conflict. And what do people do in the slippery slope? There's some activities and personal application at the end. And again, it goes over a memory verse and other Bible verses and things like that. It has a summary at the end. And there we go. So that was chapter 1 in here. And it covers different verses. It has different images to help cement what you're learning and what you're teaching to your students. I really think this has been just so solid. Such good principles. And it's something that we just keep working through. And I think when we're done, I'm going to turn right back to the beginning and we're going to work through it again. I feel like this has just been really valuable. Forgiveness is a choice. You see the little bird said that. So true. Forgiveness is important. I had a friend that said, I decided to pre-forgive. Oh, that's so good. Pre-forgive. Right before they offended her, she was already forgiving them. Now on to the student activity books. So this came, what I ended up doing was somebody had given me this one, but then I wanted the activity books, and you had to buy a new book to get it. So I bought a new book, came with this, and I gave that new book to a friend because this is just so good and I wanted her to have it as well. Same thing in here, I tabbed them based on what chapter they're on, but then I have my own separate tab for where we're at right now. So I'll show you that same chapter that I just showed you in the book. This is Twisted 10 Speed. Here's the story. And they're fighting. It's got the exact same verse at the beginning. So you could print out copies of this for each of your students. And then all these caricatures, all these images to help them to understand and follow the story. So here's the story, the same story that you read, but in a graphic novel form. Again, seeing that slippery slope, such a good visual. Going over the different things, escape and the ways, and here's some examples of it that she draws in, and then attack and the different ways, and then how to work it out in the different ways and examples of that. Here's the closing prayer, and here again some more with the story where they're not going to do this, they're going to choose to work it out, and information on that. Then can you survive? So here is some situations that happen, and here are some different responses that you could choose for it. So they're going to be talking about that. Here, Bible heroes on the slippery slope. You're looking up the verses, and then you're deciding, what did they do? Did they escape? Did they attack? Or did they work it out? I loved this right here. I thought that was so good. I love going into the Bible for truth, not just talking about it, thinking about like, let's get into it and assess. So that right there shows you what the activity pages were for chapter 1. They've got similar feel throughout. We've got the cartoon that it starts with. The images match those that you go over in the book. And then there's always some activity that they can do that connects what they've learned. This is the one that we're on right now. Well, I hope this was a helpful look inside. And if you're having trouble in your household, I hope that this helps to bring peace to you and that God gives you guys peace. And for us too. That's what we're working on, guys. All right, remember that real life is messy and beautiful and better with books. So let's take a look inside. So, not so. So younger students might not be there yet. And this is really wordy. Now there's still conflict in my house. So, no Band-Aid approach. Especially like as the fighting ramps up, I'm like, okay, we got to pull the peacemakers back out and start talking about this again.